This is Lynn from Bypass to Elena Lynn coming at you with a bariatric tag. I actually was not tagged for this, um, but I thought I'd do it because I like this tag and I thought it would be appropriate. And everybody keeps saying, I don't know who to tag, so I tagged myself, I guess. So I'm going to begin with the first question, which is, when was your surgery? And my surgery was on October 17th, 2017. In fact, this coming Wednesday will be my 1 year surgery. What is your favorite physical asset regardless of your weight? And that's my hair. Um, it's just naturally blonde. I'm 66 and I've got just like some little white spots here, but I've never been anything but blonde. So I figure that must be my asset, and it's nice and full. Even during from the third month, the fourth month, when people start losing hair, I never did lose any hair. It's just thick. I've never had anybody ever cut my hair that didn't say, "Oh my gosh, you've got enough hair for two or three people." And I think, I keep it short because of that, because it gets real bushy the longer it gets. So that gets aggravating. I just like to keep it short and easy. I mean, all I have to do to it is wash it and condition it and hit the blow dryer for about a minute, and I'm good to go. So I guess my hair would be the answer to that. What clothing sizes did you start at? And I started at 4X's and 5X's. Probably should have been all 5X, but I had convinced myself that I was never going to buy clothes again until I lost the weight. And I wasn't losing the weight, I was gaining the weight. So I just didn't buy any clothes. I said I wouldn't, and I didn't. It's just how it was. I did actually buy a few things, because I was getting in danger of having to go naked, but not very much, not very much at all. I tend to like my clothes loose, and so I don't know. I just 4X's and 5X's. Um, yeah, I've lost my place. I'm sorry. Favorite food before and after. I had a big time sweet tooth, and I loved ice cream, any flavor, but my favorite was salted caramel. And I loved sweets. I liked Reese's peanut butter cups, Twizzlers, um, um, the cookies and cream Hershey drops, um, just butter toffee, chocolate candy that Hershey puts out, like the little ones like they put out, like Mr. Goodbar and stuff like that. Um, I could eat my weight in sweets. It was my binge food, and it's what I thought made me feel good. I don't think it did, but I was under that misconception anyway. My favorite food now, I don't know that I have a favorite food. I have a lot of foods that I love. Love seafood. Um, love Mexican. I love to drink um, my iced coffees that I make with Premier Protein and cold brew, and then some Torani sugar-free syrup. Really like those. I like my smoothies. I don't know that I have a favorite food. I think the difference is that I am slowly training myself just to eat to satisfy my need for nutrition. and I enjoy eating. I mean, I try to make, I cook several times a week, and I try to make food that tastes good, and that I can enjoy, because I don't want to eat yuck. I don't want to eat an egg just because that's something I can have. I want to eat it because I enjoy it, and I like eggs, so that's pretty handy. Um, Biggest non-scale victory. I've got several that came to mind when I saw that question. I think the biggest was when I dropped out of the plus sizes into an extra large, which I realized I still got an X in front of it. But you can buy an extra large in any store. I mean, I bawled when that happened. It was like it hit me how far I had come. I didn't have to go to Lane Bryant's. I didn't have to go to Cato's Plus. I didn't have to go to Catherine's. I could go to any store I wanted to. Cheap, expensive, anywhere, and find clothes to wear. Except for maybe there's like that 579. Can't go to that store, but that's the only one I can think of that I can't go to. Um, so I mean, it was a very emotional moment. I think the next one that really hit me, and I don't particularly know why this one just hit me so hard, but I bawled for this one too. Actually, I cried quite a bit. I didn't really anticipate that this journey would be as emotional as it has been. Um, and it has been emotional. I have shed tears of joy so many times just thinking of how my life is changing because of weight. Um, but at any rate, the other one that just really hit me was, I'm going to stand up a little bit as much as I can. You'll see this says, I don't know if you can see it or not. It says Tiny Trojans. Can't read it upside. Tiny Trojans taught by terrific teachers. And that's because the school that I'm at has really struggled in the past few years. And we have gone from, in a year's time, in just with sheer dedication from teachers and people that work here, have gone from a D school to a B school. And we're that shy of being an A school. So, that's a pretty awesome progress. So they got us these shirts, and well, it's a real pretty green. Now, I also, and I don't know whether I can make it so you can see this or not. Oh, sorry. I'm going to lift you. You can't see it. I can't figure out how to. Well, there it is. Okay, I see it. And I don't know whether you can really see it or not, but it's kind of flowery, and it's got this same color green in it. Well, I had a pair of capri jeans that I was going to wear because it was hot back when we first got these shirts. And so I was going to, you know, wear this shirt, and I had gotten to the point where my extra larges were about to fall off of me. So I had bought some new belts because I needed something to keep the drawers up. You don't really want to go dropping your drawers in the middle of an elementary school. It's not really recommended. But and I got to, I was sitting there putting this belt on, and I hadn't really thought about it because I haven't worn my shirts tucked in ages. I mean, just absolute ages, because I just didn't want to. I mean, it's bad enough that you're overweight, but you sure don't want to sit there and advertise it by tucking your shirts in and showing all your flab. And so I just, in fact, back, in the mid 90s, sometime, they came out with this rule that you had to tuck your shirts in. And I was like, only when you know what freezes over am I going to tuck my shirts in. And I never did, and they never pushed the issue. I think they realized it was a silly rule. And, there are shirts that are made to be worn on the outside. And so I think they just finally decided it wasn't worth enforcing. And the rule disappeared. But there was one year where we were supposed to always wear our shirts tucked in. And I just I wasn't going to, just was not going to. I'd quit sooner and tuck my shirt in. At any rate, I was looking at the belt and I was looking at the shirt. I'd say it would look so pretty if people could see this belt. Because because the green in this shirt just matches exactly with the green in the belt. And so I thought about it and I thought, no, I can't wear my shirt out tucked in. It'll look crappy. I'll look like a big fat blob. And so I wore it. I said, okay, I'll try to tuck it in. And I went and I tucked it in and I just knew I was going to look in the mirror and say, ugh, and I looked in the mirror and realized I looked okay. I didn't look like what I thought I would look like. I looked okay. I'm not going to say I looked splendid, but I looked pretty good. And and I just cried because I couldn't remember the last time I had left my shirt tucked in or even thought about doing that. And I don't know why, but it just blew me out of the water. So those are my favorite NSVs. What video of yours has been your favorite? I don't really know. I have no clue. I haven't ever really gone back and watched them except if somebody commented and I happened to hear a little bit of it playing, while I was responding to their comment. But I don't know. I don't know that I really like myself on videos if the truth were known. Sometimes I think I look a little silly, but I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm just moving around. But at any rate, gee, I don't know which one's my favorite. What was your highest and lowest weight? Well, my highest weight was 331 pounds that I know of. I may have been a few pounds more for all I know, but when I happened to weigh myself, I was 331 at the highest that I know of. My lowest weight, I grew up, when I graduated from high school, by that time I was 5'3". And I don't know what the BMI charts say would be the lowest I should have been, but I was 113 pounds when I graduated from high school. At 18, and I never really, I think when I joined the military, I was 118. So, I kind of fluctuated in there a bit, in my early adult years. I never really had problems with weight until I got pregnant. And then after, I found an appetite that I never knew that I had. Growing up, I had asthma, and the medicine that I took for it, which, was way back in the dark ages, just shortly after dinosaurs, probably. There may have even been a few dinosaurs roaming around the day I was born, for all I know. But at any rate, back in the dark ages, the medicine that they had for asthma wasn't really very good and it wasn't very efficient. And the medicine that I took upset my stomach. And I had pretty serious asthma. And so most of the time I was taking medication and I was just always sick to my stomach, and so I never really was a big eater. In fact, my mom would go out and buy food that she knew I would eat. And in fact, I broke out in hives because she knew I would eat oranges, and she had gotten a good deal on some oranges and had bought them like 2 bushels of oranges, And I mean, I was eating 3, 4, 5 oranges a day, because I loved oranges, and those would sit okay on my stomach for some reason. And so I, I would eat oranges, and then it turned out I was allergic to, and I broke out in hives. And I tried out for this singing group, and it was May, and so by that time, even in Wisconsin, it wasn't, you didn't dress up warm, and I had to go to that with leotards on to cover up my legs because I had scratched so much from the hives, and 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 long sleeves, and oh my goodness, it was bizarre. I'm sure that the people that I tried out for thought I had just purely lost my mind. But at any rate, I just never had much of an appetite. I'd go out on dates, and the guy'd buy, this big meal, and I would eat a third of it or a half of it. And they'd say, "Is that all you're going to eat?" And I'd say, "Yeah." And he said, "But that meal," and it doesn't matter how much the meal costs. I enjoyed what I ate. I don't want to eat anymore. It'll make me sick. So I had that capacity to say, "I'm full," and stop. And probably stopped too soon. I probably needed more calories back in that particular era of my life. Um, After my pregnancy, though, and during my pregnancy, I found out I had an appetite. I mean, I had never really had an appetite before. I'd get sort of hungry, and it was never any big deal. And, I could eat or not eat, and it just didn't make any difference to me. And when I got pregnant, it was like I found hunger. And I gained 64 pounds with my daughter. And after that, I would struggle a little bit with weight. I would go, probably would have had a BMI of 28 or 20. I probably weighed about what I weigh now. And so right before I quit smoking in 1990, I weighed 128 pounds. And I felt good at that weight, and it was a good weight for me, and I was 5'3". I shrank in the course of being overweight. All that weight on your spinal column, said, "No, I don't like this." And so all my little vertebrae just kind of squished together, I guess. But at any rate, I was 128 and I quit smoking, and I gained weight like crazy. By 1997, I was in the 230s because that's when 1998, I had my hysterectomy, and when I had surgery, I weighed 230 something. And then after that, I gained weight very rapidly, and I had developed a binge eating disorder, and I've never actually been formally diagnosed, but I have I was eating secretly, and just eating completely out of control, and, I wouldn't eat that way in front of people, but when I was by myself, I would stuff my face. My sister and my oldest sister and my oldest brother were both struggled all their lives with weight, and I wouldn't eat in front of them, even though they did in front of me. I would not overeat in front of them. Oh, I'm sure they knew why I was getting so big, but I wouldn't do it. So I guess 1990 was the last. I was 128 pounds, and I never saw that number again ever after I quit smoking. I went from being a stress smoker to a stress eater. I just substituted one bad habit for another, I guess. Um, My goal weight is 130. That'll put me at a BMI of 23 point something. And it'll give me about 5 pounds to play with, because I could get up to 135, and still be a normal BMI. But I would like to say I'm a normal BMI. That being said, that if I don't get down that far, I'm at 152 right now, 152 point something. And if I don't get down to 130, my heart will not be broken because I feel good. And I don't think I look too bad. So, if I stayed this way, I would be happy. If I lose weight, I'll be even happier. But my goal weight is 130. And actually, I've already got people telling me, "You're getting too skinny. You need to stop. You need to eat more." And I'm like, I can't eat more. I can't. I'm eating what I can. And I never thought I'd ever say it. I can't eat anymore, because I could binge eat pretty good in the day. Um, I think my relationships, as far with people, but the question is, how do you feel your relationships are with friends? After I don't really have any romantic in my life right now, so that hasn't changed. Um, uh, Friends have been fine. They've been very supportive. My family has been very supportive. Um, I don't feel like our relationships have changed at all, other than to give me the moral support that I need, to do this. Favorite exercise. I love doing the treadmill, but I don't do it. I'm not really exercising right now. I do try to make sure I get a good many steps in a day. I walk a lot with my job, going to pick up children and stuff like that, and I'll get easily 7 or 8 thousand steps a day without really working at it too hard. But I probably do need to be more focused. I had joined a gym this summer and really gotten, so I was exercising and school started, and I just got off track and I just can't seem to get back on track. So there you have it. And then there's a part of me that says when I exercise, I don't really lose a whole lot of weight, except for maybe when I first start that first week, because it disturbs the ecosystem, I guess. But then after that, I slow way down, and then I'm down to a half a pound or a pound, and and I know that I'm building muscle and yada yada. But I kind of wonder whether I wouldn't just rather lose the weight and then try to control my weight by building muscle. I don't know. What's everybody's opinion on that one? Put it down in the comments below. Um, do I ever regret my decision? I have. I mean, I'm not going to lie and say I never have regretted it. Probably about 3 weeks in, I guess, I was dealing with a problem with my pharmacy. And it was extremely stressful, pre surgery, I would have just stopped and got some ice cream and some candy and I would have got home and I would have stuffed my face with stuff I didn't need to stuff it with. Um, and I was so angry with Walgreens. Every time I would put in a set of prescriptions, they would find some way to mess it up. I mean, I don't know how this place continued to function. I don't think all Walgreens are like that, but this particular Walgreens couldn't get their act together if their life depended on it. And they were forever messing up my prescriptions. And I like to go one time and be done with it for the month. And so I have worked very hard at getting all my prescriptions, so they're all due around the same time and I can just get them all filled and be done. And that just didn't work. But I just really got ticked off. And I was walking out of the store, and I mean, that old habit kicked in. And I'm going to go get some ice cream, fresh and fresh. And then I realized it wouldn't do me any good to go get candy. And it wouldn't do me any good to go get ice cream because, number one, I had already dumped. And I knew I would dump if I ate that stuff. And it's not a fun experience. And I couldn't. I couldn't. I mean, your stomach's all that big, and it's not the stretchy part anymore. It's just that, stiff part. So I realized, and I mean, I really actually literally cussed out my gastric bypass. This last couple of weeks at work have been extremely stressful, and I have been wanting to binge. And I mean, I'll be perfectly honest with you. I have been wanting to binge. I can't, but I guess I could eat every hour, and do it that way. But I just, I'm just trying to deal with the stress in a way that has nothing to do with food. But it's not easy. It's not easy sometimes. This is a new experience, and I'm having to learn how to deal with my emotions without stuffing my face. And that's something we all have to learn how to do. Or at least most of us. Some of us don't eat emotionally, but most of us probably do. Um, and my surgery I had, my kind of surgery I had, a Roux-en-Y gastric bypass. Am I a dumper? I do, or I did. I've done it one time. I had made a smoothie, and I had never really counted the sugar grams in my smoothie, but I always put a banana in it, a half a banana, and I would put a Danon's Light and Fit yogurt, which has got 7 grams of sugar, and I used a protein powder, and really think that's all I put in it that has sugar. I used sugar-free Triani's, for some flavoring, and unsweetened cashew or almond milk. So those were the only things with sugar, and I just didn't think about it. And I thought I was making one. It was strawberry kiwi, and I thought I've got some frozen strawberries in the refrigerator, so I'll put some frozen strawberries in it. Well, and I didn't think anything of it because in my mind it was strawberries, and that's natural sugar. I had made sure that the frozen strawberries had no added sugar, that it was just the sugar that was within the fruit naturally. And so I just didn't think anything of it. And I put a half a cup of strawberries in my smoothie. And I dumped at church. I didn't even drink the whole smoothie. I didn't have time to. I maybe drank half or maybe a little more than half of it. And I was just going to come home and finish it later because they have these Yeti cups, or they're not Yeti actually. This is Ozark from Walmart, and about a quarter of the price of a Yeti. So works for me. But so things stay cold in it forever. So I said I'll just come home and finish it off, and I didn't worry about it. I was full, and I got to church, and we were about 15 minutes into the service, and my heart started to pound. I mean, like crazy. I was confused and just. I was just like this, I was like, I couldn't stop shaking, and my stomach was just, oh my gosh, I was so nauseated, and I so wanted to throw up, and never did get any diarrhea with it. But I sat there. We were doing a song called Midnight Cry, and we've sung this song a million times. I know the alto backwards, forwards, and upside down. I could have done it standing on my head at any given moment in time. And I was sight reading it, the music, the alto to this song. And I wasn't doing a very good job either. I was confused. And once we finished, I got out of the choir loft as quick as I could. And I said, I've got to go home. I'm sick. And I went home. took Zofran, the doctor, and I was the first Zofran I had ever taken. I never had any problems with nausea after my surgery. I took a Zofran and I went to bed, and after about an hour, like they say, it passed. But oh my gosh, I felt absolutely awful. So after that, I wouldn't eat fruit because I was afraid of fruit. I am now back to putting like a third of a banana in my smoothies, but I don't eat a lot of fruit because it just frankly scares me. I know that an apple will be fine, and I know that if I eat a little, and I've eaten some grapes. I had gotten some grapes, and I ate them in just like three or four at a time, And I've eaten some grapes, but I really have not eaten a whole lot of fruit since that happened. And I will not eat candy. I will not eat ice cream. I watch the sugar in everything I put in my mouth because that one experience with dumping was not fun. Oh my goodness, this is 30 minutes long. I guess I better cut this. Um, do you think food is or was your addiction? And yeah, I do. I do. I traded my smoking addiction off for eating, and I just literally binge ate quite frequently. I could go all day and probably consume 600 calories, and I would get in the evening, and I bet I could put 5,000 calories away easy when nobody was looking because I lived by myself. But at that point in time, um, so yeah, it was an addiction. Has anyone not recognized you? Yes. Um, my lady that does the nails says every time she sees me in public, she has to look at me for a minute to figure out who I am and then realize, oh, that's Lynn. She does my nail every. I said, you do my nails every 3 weeks, and she said, yes, but every time I see you, you look different. I have had people, pass me in the grocery store that I knew who they were and may not have known their names, but they knew me because everybody knows the speech therapist at school. They know the teachers and everything. And so, um, and people have gone right by me, and then they'll kind of stop, and every once in a while, I'm like, Lynn, is that you? And I'll say, yeah, that's me. Yeah, I guess there's a lot of difference between somebody that weighs 331 pounds and somebody that weighs 150 something. So, yeah. In fact, the data clerk had retired not this past year, but the spring before that. And I didn't see her for a long time. Our paths just never crossed. And she saw me and she walked by me and then stopped. And I said, Debbie, it's Lynn. And she said, yeah, I know, but you just look so different. And so, yeah, I've had people not recognize me. Am I a happier person? In some ways, yes, I'm happier. I'm happier with me. I have more confidence. I I feel healthier. I don't have to struggle to stand up and sit down. I can climb up on a bench and change the lights at my house because I can actually do that. I don't like to. I don't like to be in a position where I think I might fall. I think I've got a phobia about falling, but then that's a long story all by itself. We won't go into that. Um, and so I think no, life is never all happy. It will never be all happy. Um, and your weight isn't always what makes you unhappy or made me unhappy before I lost the weight. But am I happier? Yeah, I am. I'm happier with myself than I was. Um, People I have to watch every week. I like to watch anybody I can watch. I like Numi, and I like Mini Me in Tennessee, but she doesn't post every week anymore. She gets more seldom, but I do watch Hot Southern Mess. Smaller and NC, RNY, Angie. Yes, ma'am. Not today. Not until it's. Oh shoot! I can't find my paperwork written down. It's right here somewhere. Oh, here it is. They're scheduled for You're welcome. Okay, I'm sorry. Interrupted by the intercom. Um, I may have to learn how to edit because I'm sure I don't want this. That last information. I don't know whether it recorded or not. Um, because I thought I had stopped it, but I'm not really sure how to do that either. But at any rate, oh, see, people I have to watch. Bar- I'm so bad with names. I'm so bad. I just watch so many people. Um, Grace gets gastric. Um, there's so many. Well, if I didn't mention, you know that I watch. I'm subscribed to the world, okay? And, and so I like to watch everybody. Sometimes I don't get everybody in because I work, and so I don't really have a lot of time to watch. I pretty much just go down my notifications and I line them up in a queue or quay or whatever you call that. And now my phone is going to tell me I need to take my vitamins, which I've already done. Um, Non-scale goals, just to keep getting healthier. That's basically um, to retire. I am very seriously considering retiring at the end of this year. In fact, I'm pretty much 99.9% sure that I'm going to retire. I just have got to explore it a little further. And am I addicted to the scales? No, I am not. I hate the scales. I consider the scales to be my enemy. I am better with it now. I almost lost this weight loss surgery because my insurance required me to have a weight from 2015 and a weight from 2016 that was certifiable. So they meant medical office. And I had trained my doctor's nurse not to weigh me. I always had an excuse why I couldn't weigh that day. And she just got so she didn't. And fortunately for me, she had weighed me one time in 2015, right at the beginning of the year. And I mean, that was God's grace looking after me because I don't know how that happened, but she had one weight on me. And then I was in another doctor's office, and of course, if you haven't trained the nurse, you can't get out of things. And so I had a wait from 2016 at this particular office. Um, but I passionately tried not to weigh everywhere I went. And 2015 was not, I don't think I went to the doctor's more than for a checkup that year. So the few times I went was to my PCP, and I had her trained. So, yeah, I don't like scales. Now, once I had the surgery, I started weighing once a week because I knew I needed to keep myself accountable. Um, and actually, as I said in my update video, I did join Weight Watchers, and so I have been watching some Weight Watcher YouTube channels. And there's one where they're doing a daily weigh-in challenge, and I am doing it, and it's like, well, I'm like, oh, mm-hmm. But I do it every day. I'm not sure that I like it, and I will be glad when the month of October is over and I don't have to weigh every day anymore. But it's a mind game. It really is. It's a mind game because, like, I weighed one day and I'd lost a pound. The next day I weighed, I gained the pound back, and what did I do to gain a pound? I had eaten the same way I had the day before. So, no, I am not addicted to the scale at all. I would assume not ever see a scale, but I do it for the accountability and to make sure that I am not only maintaining my weight, but losing. So I do it because I should. Although I have to say that I have gotten better enough about the scale that in the morning when I weigh, I do not strip down naked anymore. I just weigh in my pajamas, and I always have my watch on, and I don't. If I've got my glasses on, I don't take those off either. And so I think I'm getting a little bit desensitized to the scale by making myself weigh all the time. But I can't say I still like getting on the scale. No, not at all. At any rate, this is the end. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned a little bit more about me. I'm sorry I talked so long. I surely didn't mean to, but I did it anyway. Y'all have a very blessed week, a very blessed life. And I'm not going to tag anybody because I think everybody just about has done this tag, either voluntarily or because they've been tagged. I don't know that Mini Me in Tennessee has done it, so Mini Me, you should do this tag. Everybody likes to know you. See who else? Can't think of anybody else who hasn't done it. So, um, but if you haven't done it, do it. It's fun getting to know people and how they think and what they're like, because sometimes all we seem to know about each other is our stats. We know so and so weighs 180 pounds, and so weighs 231 pounds, and so weighs this. So it's nice to know other things. Bye. Love you.